Hello and welcome back to the Writer's Room. If you're watching this when it is airing, happy Memorial Day. So excited to be with you. And I want to talk today about the role of synchronicity in the creative process and the process of success and abundance. As you know, we're in a big season right now of celebrating and working together to manifest abundance and riches and success of all kinds for women everywhere and women, men, any way we identify for all people. And we are doing that in our Abundance Accelerator, which, by the way, if you have not jumped in, jump in because there's still a whole month left. And in the first week, this beautiful, intimate group of committed women has generated over $350,000 in new income, just using what we do in the Science of Getting Rich for Women. I'm taking everybody through the principles and strategies in the book. And this even just first small group in 1 week generated over $300,000. So if you want to manifest more abundance, to invest in your vision, in yourself, in your travel, in your joy this summer, still you can get in now and take the rest of the Abundance Accelerator with us. So I'm just in so awe, all of you who are watching this that are participating. Congratulations. That's awesome. So what does this have to do with synchronicity? Well, I think synchronicity is a form of abundance. The fact that we can get inspiration from everywhere and that there's this whole pulsing universe that's here to inspire us, to inform our craft, to help us have the right idea at the right time. And I'm going to share a synchronicity that happened, like a chain of synchronicities that happened to one of our amazing editors, Audrey Fireberg, who some of you work with as a writing coach in our Thought Leader Academy program. And some of you also know Audrey from our retreats, and she's amazing and teaches workshops at our events. But Audrey and I had this really cool synchronicity happen that she gave me permission to share about today. So what happened is that I use writing prompts. I've given many of them here in the writer's room when I want to warm up. If I don't want to face the blank page, a writing prompt can be so awesome to get us going. So we're not kind of having the pressure of our book and it has to be good. It's like, oh, it's just a prompt for 10 minutes. So there's a writer I love, Rebecca Mackay, and she also teaches at Northwestern. So she was doing a whole year of prompts, 365 prompts. And one of the prompts was the Spanish teacher got fired, just like right on that, wherever that takes you. And it took me I changed it to French teacher because I took French in school, and not as practical, but it's my heritage and my mom's side of the family's French. And so I changed that. And then this whole story erupted out of me that's in my new book, Ghost House, which will be coming out in October. And this whole story about this French teacher and these girls who almost developed like a cult-like obsession with this French teacher who disappears and is fired, then disappears. And so this one little prompt turned into a published story in my new book. And I've did a reading of it at AWP conference, like really exciting that just this quick little few minute exercise turned into this published story. Well, I was teaching a writing retreat last year and I gave a prompt, I think on one of our virtual trainings, always bring something for the hungry things. And Audrey happened to be at that event with me, and she liked that prompt, and she started, all of a sudden, this whole story came out of her. And that story just got published. I'm pulling it up on my phone in a beautiful journal called Meridian. So Audrey now got published. You can see the cover here of Meridian, issue 46. So she's now published in this book. You can see, I just want to show you her byline. Okay. So the story is called Cone, and look how beautiful. So Audrey is now published off a prompt. So I got a story published off of a prompt. Audrey got a story published off a different prompt. And it's all about being engaged. Go to things. Like I went on to Rebecca's Twitter feed and looked at her prompts, and Audrey came to that writing workshop and did the prompt. Like all we have to do really is sort of stay present, and we'll get the inspiration, like your answers in the room, as we say in Thought Leader Academy. So I just want to honor Audrey's beautiful publication, because any of us know that when we send out work, it's like scary to submit and you don't get yeses right away all the time. And, Audrey stuck with the process and she got this piece published, this wonderful journal. And it can also be, by the way, if you publish short stories in magazines and journals, you can still put it in your book, which is different than other forms of writing. But in short story, it's encouraged. So I got lots of my stories published in individual publications and magazines. Now they're in the short story collection that'll come out in October. So let me just read to inspire us this week. And then I want you to take the prompt, the Spanish teacher got fired, or always bring something for the hungry things, or go on Rebecca Mackay's Twitter feed and find a different prompt, or type into Google creative writing prompts. Use a prompt this week. Use a prompt this week and then watch for the synchronicities. You might get your next published piece out of it. Okay, to inspire us, here's Audrey. Just the first few sentences. You should always have something for the hungry things. The animals must be starving out there in the heat. This was who my sister was, contemporary in body, but carrying a soul so ancient, it sometimes seemed spooky, though more often laughable. But still, I would have a sugar cube, a dry piece of bread, a handful of nuts in my pocket as I went along my work, wetting the earth with my hose to prevent fires breaking out in the summer heat, cleared brush along the hiking trails, and as I cooked the firefighters in the firefighters' barracks and spilled a little salt, I'd pinch the crystals off the counter and throw them over my shoulder. Always something for the hungry things. So she's using repetition here, right? So beautiful. Listen to that craft. We have a list. We talked about lists recently at the retreat. Power. So Audrey's using a list. She's using anaphora, which will anaphora typically be like in a poetry, like repeating something at the beginning of a line a few times. So Mary Oliver does this beautifully in her poem Wild Geese. You can look that up and use that as a prompt. It's a gorgeous poem. I love it so much. And Audrey's doing that here. So she's using repetition. She's using lists. She's using sensory detail. We've got all this heat and it's hot. And then we have character revelation. Like this woman is cooking for the firefighters. Is she a firefighter? Does she work with the firefighters? We're going to find out. I'm sure you want to read the rest of the story. So we'll post the link here and try out, like, follow your impulses this week. That's how we show up for synchronicity. If you feel like, oh, I'm going to attend this writing workshop online, go attend it. If you feel like, oh, I'm going to go to that retreat, go sign up for it today. And if you feel like I just read this I saw a sign on a church as I drove by that says, Jesus only loves some crazy thing, right on that. The only way to not feel and receive the synchronicity gifts is to, be distracted, be on our phones all the time, if you're present, you're going to get them. And I'll see you in the next writer's room. Have a great weekend.